Welcome in to Browns Film Breakdown's latest film room. We haven't done a film room since the quarterbacks. We probably will do a little more on the running backs. We'll see. But what I want to do before things get too crazy is cover some of this decision that I think, as Scott and I join you, that is pretty much an Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter decision to be made at pick 2. If they're out on the quarterbacks the way that we are presuming, meaning Sanders and Dart and all of that, we think it's a second pick decision, and that deserves our attention. So we do want to spend some time narrowing what we believe about Carter and Hunter. So we're going to do that. We're going to start with Carter today. I do have to say, Scott, as we start this, though, it is going to be hard to divert our eyes from round one of the Masters going on, but I think we can do it. I think we can get through this.
Yeah, the tradition, unlike any other, has returned. The pine straw, the pimento cheese sandwiches. We're back.
We're back, dude. I might have to get one for lunch today, just out of an honor system. Won't be as cheap and as delicious, but it will be nonetheless the right thing to do today. So you guys should be partaking in a similar thing here over the week. You got 4 days. Get it right, folks. All right. We are talking about Abdul Carter first. And, you come to this site every day, listen to the pod every day. You kind of know where I stand on this. I prefer Hunter. But I don't think it stops you from looking at what you like or sort of dislike about Carter. And I think that's what we want to spend some time on. I reiterate and continue to try to focus and give credit to Dane Brugler's The Beast Guide, which is one of the best draft guides you can find for just the simplicity of finding players. What I love about this, Scott, is not the stats and the write-up and all that. Simply, it's the background stuff. Like there's really everything from what these guys have been from high school to college to their family life. Like it's all here. It's an amazing amount of information to pull on these guys. So Carter is obviously at the top of the edge group. He's the second ranked player in Dane's top 100, with Carter as the number 1 player. And just a reminder to some folks about some things. So he's 21 and a half at the time of the draft. So he will turn 22 late in the year, but again, fits the age guardrails. 3-year player, 6'4", 250. That's a little generous. I think he's probably playing more in that 240 range. I think you would probably agree with me on that, Scott.
Yeah.
Plays a little lighter than that. But is he a true traditional 6'4", 6'5"? I don't know that he's truly 6'4", but whatever. Is he like that bigger classic 4-3 strong side edge type, right? No, I don't think so. But he's not so small that I think he's a linebacker only, like a walk up 3-4 type. Like I don't view it that. I do think he has enough size to be a 4-3 fit. I don't know if you disagree with me on that, but I think that he can do it. I don't think the size is prohibitive for him, if I'm being honest there. What do you think about that?
No, I think you're right. Like it's almost like it could end up working in his favor because he can play both, really. Like he has shown that he can put his hand in the ground. He's obviously been very effective as a stand-up guy off the edge. So it might end up working out for him in the NFL that he can do both. I don't think that, like, I don't think he's not like 6'1", like the kid from Marshall, Mike Green this year, who he's too small to put his hand in the ground and be a every down defensive end. Like he just is. Like you're not going to find a team that's going to put him out there down every down at weak side DN. Like he can't do it. But Carter can. I mean, yes, he's coming in at a reported 250. That's going to go up, or his muscle mass is going to go up. I mean, look at Miles's body transformation from when he was initially drafted to what he looks like now. I mean, it's a freaking looks like an American gladiator, for God's sake, nowadays. Whoever Carter goes to is gonna bulk him up. So I don't think that his size right now is he could play right now at that is ideal. Probably not, but over time it'll get better, and it's not a detriment that's going to prevent a 4-3 team from taking this guy.
No, I don't think so either. And the long arms, which is I'm trying to show you there, the wingspan is long, the 33-inch arms, that's going to keep him in a position that he can keep those longer arm offensive tackles away from burying him, right? You got shorter arms, you're going to get engulfed in some of those punches and stuff like that, or you can't long arm into a chest of a player, converting that speed to power. So I don't have concerns there. we don't need to go through everything Dane talks about, but he talks pretty adamantly about the explosiveness, linear tracking ability he can do to, it's one thing to be able to win off the high side, but if you can't have the ankle flexion to cut it off, right, or flatten it out is the term that you hear a lot. So anybody, I mean, I don't know anybody, that's loosely, but most prospects can run up the field and win high, but it doesn't matter if you're just getting run past the quarterback's landing spot in the pocket. The best of the best can turn the corner, but then flatten out to cut the backside of the pocket off and make those sacks. Miles is the special one of one at this, where his ankles, you get to some spots in tape, and it looks like his knee could touch the ground and his ankle is flexed to the left. It is insane. So when you hear these guys talk about, what's the ankle flexibility like, you got to understand it's the ability to play full speed, but cut that thing off and get flat and have the ability to turn the corner in those tight windows. And I think he clearly does that. So there's enough play with, in my opinion, power where he converts those rushes to power adequately for those tackles who are really concerned about, hey, I can't lose the high side rep here, and you start to really scoot and you don't get a good base, stuff like that. And his metrics are strong. He's got the best pass rush win rate in the class. Grading is good. And despite the shoulder issue this offseason and despite the foot stress reaction stuff going on, he did never miss a game. He played in 42 games for 3 years, so the knock on injuries isn't a thing. But Dane points out the size is just below the desired size for edge, which we agree on. It's just a tick below, not prohibitive, but a tick below. And you're going to have some film here where you can get, bigger blockers can at times engulf him. Like he says, some spin and chops are predictable. We need to be a bit more punctual, a bit more deceptive with those. And then there's a little bit of that flagged offside stuff that's come up, but any of those speed rushers or anticipatory snap count jumpers, Miles is damn near good for one of them every 3 games. You take the good with the bad. So, but again, you're talking about 3 football-based things he's got a little bit of a concern with. There is some off-the-field stuff that we have documented. We wrote it up where, some being on time, being where he's supposed to be, being a cultural leadership guy is not there. And that's a concern for me. But we're really not here to talk about that so much as we are to talk about what he is on the football field. So those are the pieces of information from the scouting report, and then just kind of connecting really quickly on his statistical profile. Market share tackle wise, 172 across his career, strong. Not as productive his first 2 years. Obviously, he played in a very productive defensive line group for a lot of years, but he really broke out from a production standpoint this past season. At he's still young enough age, 4 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles. He got up to 12 sacks and 23.5 tackles for loss. So you had that breakout that you were looking for. And even despite the 5.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, he was still a second team All-American kid in 23. So there was a lot of respect for what he was putting up. And then obviously, 24 Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, unanimous All-American, all that stuff in place, right? Led the FBS and tackles for loss. Everything checks out here. What we want to kind of talk about is the film. So that's where we're going to shift over to right now. All right, let's get to the tape now. So a reminder, just like it seems like there's the number 7 history at LSU, there's this number 11 history between Micah Parsons. Carter kind of looks like a Parsons variant, I would call him, a little bigger physically. Probably not as explosive an athlete, I would say, because Parsons seems to be like a one of one in that regard. But so they look very similar in uniform. And then they got LeVar Arrington Jr. is going to wear that number 11 and probably be just as freaky. So they got a tradition going on there. But yeah, walk us through what we're looking at. We're doing a little run stuff early, and then we'll get to the pass stuff.
Yeah, so starting with the running game here, this little dip around, the split action by the tight end here, like I think this is how he's going to make his hay in the run game, especially early. Just winning with athleticism and quickness like that. That's hard to do, to like dip around that guy and still have the, body control to like, okay, one step and I'm back into making the tackle inside here. So like, this is kind of what he is super good at and what he's going to have to excel at at least in his rookie year, until he gets the hang of playing against NFL run blocking schemes. So this one again, just winning with quickness. You'll see from when we get to the tight that like he's just swimming and like his hands are really good here. He's just a very slippery guy. Yeah, he's on the edge there. Very slippery, especially for like tight ends. I mean, it's a mismatch. They tried to double him, but he's just too quick and is just too good for number 84 there from Illinois. I think what was interesting with some of these games, especially when you get to like Ohio State tape, which is coming up, like he got, I don't know if he was necessarily like put in the best spot because he was like playing kind of like this, like head up on a tight end, on a wing tight end, instead of like, coming at that angle like he would be in Schwartz's defense of like, okay, I'm going to have a good angle, a good 9-line angle, and I'm going to be able to like crush the tight end. No, he's playing head up against these guys, and he's going to have to like this is a great rep. He punches with his hands, is able to escape, and doesn't make the tackle, but like he blows up that tight end on the edge there, and Genty has to like stutter his feet and then slow down, and the other guys are there to make the play. So like this is a good rep. I don't think that like he's going to be put head up on tight ends often, or he shouldn't be. At least his rookie year. But like that was a solid rep of like actually seeing some power, because like I think that was one of the bigger concerns for him. I mean, this is just nose for the ball, going to go after, see his speed. That is super rare for a D end edge kind of player. Like, I mean, I guess you could make the case that he's getting washed down, but like, or is he just following the play? Yeah, it's just
I think
instincts.
he's following it, because if you look at the line, the 3 tech is playing the B, so he's definitely supposed to be right side. He's fit and C and kind of in contain.
Yeah,
but that's just like, I mean, backs away from me reading out the feel of. You can see his eyes down the line, seeing how this is being processed. So yeah, man, that is pretty good, pretty fantastic effort and play.
And like this one too, he had the shoulder thing going on, so like his left arm was like useless in this game, and like obviously he was able to get away here, but like just seeing the explosion and the burst, the quickness that he's got, like it's good stuff. So now, all right, so now we'll get into the bad here, and I think this is what is going to come up a bunch in this cut up with when he tries to get hands on. It doesn't always go well. Obviously, like the size and strength have been like question marks for him, because he's very much a finesse player, in both phases. So how is he going to handle, a starting left tackle or right tackle even in the NFL? Like if he doesn't have the strength to get his hands on it and control the block, there's a bunch of he ends up on the ground, I think, a lot more than you want to see in the run game. It's not necessarily surprising, knowing what we know about him, but like there are a lot of clips of him just ending up on the ground, which you never really want to see out of anybody who might be a top 2 pick.
Right. And I think some of that is where you do have concerns about size. Like even when Miles is beat, and I'm comparing him to Miles because this is the type of selection you're making, your top 2 of the draft. Like he doesn't get put on his back like very often at all, unless 2 guys are handling him, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't become a non-factor in run fit in terms of being just erased down on gap scheme, stuff like that. That just doesn't happen for him. So it's a matter of, can he overcome that? Or if this is the case of like where Parsons has figured it out is he plays lightning fast, right? And he beats people usually with speed, but there's still enough strength that he can handle it. Something like we're seeing right here, just a one-on-one zone block. Is this a bad rep? I wouldn't call it a bad rep, because he is kind of working back into fit and get a hand on the ball carrier. But I mean, if you get a jump cut right here, right? So if you're pressing and you get a jump cut, he's getting put on his back. So you're not able to redirect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you really want. You talked about the arm length before, which is very important for a DN, and like you have to be able to, press and escape from the blocker that you're going up against. And like, I mean, he couldn't do it there against Ohio State. So like, that's just, and that will hopefully come over time. But like, that is obviously something that is a concern at this point, with him coming into the draft.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
he is aggressive, and he will get down the line and fit these split zone guys. Now, 44 is a hoss,
yeah,
but that's not any different than Patrick Ricard
yeah, yeah,
in Baltimore and stuff like that. So, you certainly, if this ball's given, up inside this tight zone, that's a pretty chunky cutback lane because you don't get that cut down. So, yeah, I mean, I do think that size engulfs him at times in a way
yep.
that is kind of ignored by some folks. And
Like,
another example of it right here.
yeah, he literally gets lost. And I mean, I remember watching this play and putting it in the cut up. I was like, where did he go? And then you see his back, on the
Where did he
ground there.
go?
It's just like, yeah, he just gets completely lost in there.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I don't envision him playing this spot very much in the league.
Same. Yeah,
Be
I don't.
fair.
That's not the best spot for him, and I don't think an NFL coaching staff would put him in that position.
Right.
But
Right.
like, he obviously, it's not great to see.
No, we don't. We want to know what you can do, right? Not your limitations necessarily. So I definitely don't feel like there's any inside flex to what he's doing. Whereas somebody again like 95, you can put inside and feel comfortable with it.
Yeah. I mean, the inside flex comes in the passing game, but like
Sure
that's
Sure does.
Different conversation.
But he's not Zadarius. So as a counterpart, he's not Zadarius, who they did feel comfortable kicking in inside every now and again.
Correct.
Even against maybe split probability run pass scenarios where it wasn't pure pass. And if we did have a run, he could still sort of hold his own in the B, kind of playing 3-tech or whatever. But he's playing the 6-tech here over the left tackle in between the tackle and tight end. And again, it's just like a total non-factor. This ball's run his direction. If this ball is run, following the path that these two are laying out, he's not a factor in that play. Yep. So I think PFF graded him pretty low on the run defense, 40s, 50s. I'm not sure that total number, but it wasn't strong. But I think it's a part of his game that it is not. The question for me is like, is the pass rush stuff so special and the other diverse tools that he can have, such as right here where he's kind of walked into mugging the A gap and punching out and being comfortable in space? Is there enough here that makes you sort of think, even if he's not a good run defender, can he be average in that